Let me say the entire crypto community, for years, you were mocked and dismissed and counted out. You were counted out as little as a year and a half ago. But this signing is a massive validation.
President Trump delivering a big victory for the crypto industry today, signing a first-of-its-kind bill setting up national rules for digital assets. Let's bring in Pete and Jon Najarian, co-founders of Market Rebellion. Gentlemen, always good to see you.
Good to see you, Hannah.
Let's start with the basics. What does this bill actually do to make cryptocurrency safer and easier for all of us to use? Jon.
Well, what it does is it actually lays a framework for who is going to regulate what, because there were fights between CFTC and SEC trying to figure out, okay, is this an office of the controller of the currency issue? Is it SEC, which is where stocks are, or is it a commodity and so forth? So that kind of uncertainty certainly crimped the growth that we would have seen in crypto. The president wants to see us be one of the leaders in digital assets. And I think this goes a long way to do that, to give us the framework to say what stable coins have to do. That's, of course, something that's backed by, it has to be a very low risk instrument like the US Treasury or some other low risk asset that you hold against these tokens that you issue. That would be an example, for instance, of a stable coin. That, I think, that alone is going to be really strong for the United States to bolt ahead of other parts of the world in terms of digital assets of all sorts.
Peter, there's been a lot of talk that financial institutions could soon be holding Bitcoin, like Jon just said, like they hold cash. How much closer are we to that?
We're bumping right into it right now. As a matter of fact, I think when you look at the business community and you start seeing companies like Tesla or MicroStrategy, and they're out there buying Bitcoin, right? And by the way, Bitcoin's not the only one they've been buying. Ethereum's been another one where we've seen massive buying there as well. So, you know, there's a lot of companies out there that I think make it that much more interesting because they're trusting it. I think that gives people a little bit more trust as well. And as Jon says, now that they've got this framework in place, I think the opportunities are going to be insane. By the way, ETH, you know, which is Ethereum, that thing in the last 3 months is actually up 116% versus Bitcoin at 38%. So you can see that there's a lot of movement there. And I know we talk about stablecoin, but when we're looking at this whole thing, there's still a lot of volatility going on right now as they grow.
Jon, with the passage, you know, there are so many crypto bills on the way. We saw the passage of the bill earlier today. How soon could we be using digital currencies to pay for things in our everyday lives where we don't need cash, even our credit cards anymore?
Well, and we do have a number of vendors, I'll call them, not so much the big grocery store chains and so forth, but you have an awful lot of online merchants that will indeed take crypto already, and you will see more of that. I don't know how much in terms of both the Ethereum that Pete mentioned and the Bitcoin. Those are things that people buy and hold for the most part. They're buying them for the appreciation of that asset. Stable coins, not so much. I mean, by its very nature, it's an alternative, but the alternative might be a lot less of a fee that the merchants have to shoulder or pass on to the consumer. So we all know that it's probably somewhere between 2.5% and 4% for a credit card to be swiped.
Yeah.
Well, stable coins can do it for a lot less than that, and that'll be where the growth comes right away.
Especially for so many business owners. Peter, let's take a step back. Are there broader implications of how crypto going mainstream could impact the markets or the economy overall?
Well, I think that the one thing that everybody always talks about is, are they comfortable enough to understand it and feel like this is going to be something that's going to be there tomorrow? Now, we're still in the infancy of this whole thing, quite honestly, but I think this actually gives that sort of a pass on the idea that this is something that can be used. This is something that maybe it's not in everyday life, but in a big chunk of life. So I think this really is the first step now forward, and the president obviously very excited about this. But to get this bill and you get both sides of the aisle approving it, I think that says a lot right there for itself.
Let's talk interest rates, guys. Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller says he thinks they should cut rates in 2 weeks. Do you think the Fed chair should listen to him, Jon?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, the Fed chair is in a fight with the president. And he made it clear that he's in a fight with the president. He also made it clear that that this is a political football, because he said, were it not for tariffs, we would have already cut rates. So in other words, what he's seeing is the same thing that Waller's complaining about. Waller is saying we're going to wait too long again to cut rates. Rates are less than half of what we are paying right now in this country for the federal funds. We are paying double what Europe is paying, and that's just silly. I mean, we're the biggest consumer in the world. We're the biggest economy in the world. There's no reason that our interest rates should be as high as they are. And Jerome Powell, quite frankly, is not covering himself in glory here. It's rather shame, because it's hurting all of us.
Yeah.
We all pay for the debt that we've accumulated, and at a higher rate, at double what Europe's paying. That's silly.
We got to end it there. Jon, Peter Najarian, always a pleasure. We'll see you soon. Thank you.